All right, I want to welcome everybody to the Mississippi Advisory Commission on Marine Resources meeting for Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Commissioner McClendon, will you lead us in a pledge of allegiance? Thank you, Commissioner. Director, would you like to lead us in praise?
Yeah, before we start this morning, we'd also like to remember the people. We've had several shootings over the last few days in different parts of the military, young man out of Iowa that was killed in overseas the other day. We just want to remember everybody. This is a terrible time of year for anything, anybody can lose someone. And because, especially in situations when it's not needed. I mean, accidents, big one. So when people are taken out as well, not an accident, something else that is not in nature, when, it's hard. So, just remember everybody, remember what we're doing, and, still the Lord. Heavenly Father, we thank you. We thank you for everything that you've done for us, and everything you continue to do for us. We just ask you to take each and every one of us in the commission here and also in the Department of Marine Resources to your way.
Thank you, Director. All right, I want to acknowledge that Commissioner Osborne is joined in via Teams, and we also have Stephen Eckert joined in via Teams. Moving forward,
We can't get started without acknowledging that today's your birthday.
Now,
yeah, I appreciate it.
I think we're all gonna sing happy birthday, don't you?
All right. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be fair.
She's gonna have to say
And we can sing the line.
All right. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from November 18th? Are there any questions?
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Next up is approval of the agenda. Do we have any questions? All in favor? Aye. All right, Director.
Okay, looks like, got a note here, I'm trying to remember where I'm at. So, I tell you what, this change of scenery takes measure here. All right, we're gonna start with our director's report, and, we're looking at the employment contracts. I think that's up on the screen. Connor Allen has, started in the contractor for the office. Ian Jackson has, started November for environmental natural resource specialist two in marine fisheries. And Jacob Strickland was promoted to master sergeant in marine patrol. So congratulations to all of them. Now, let's see, we don't have any contracts or anything we need to go over on the agency update. Cover a couple of things. First off, you got any type of public comment? TJ's in the back. Give it to TJ. He'll get whatever he needs up here. Oyster season update. We've been doing good. I think we're at about 17,000 in that neighborhood. And we had to shut down last week because we had 6 inches of rain. And obviously that and we do that. But usually 2 or 3 inches to shut down. They get 6 inches so right now we get it. Well, but we've got good news. As of this morning, we have good reports back, and I think they opened up certain areas this morning that you sitting there check, let's take over. On button. It says that at 10 o'clock this morning, we'll open up area 2A, including Pass 50 and Tony Block, area 2B, Point 3, area 2F, including the Pass Dredge 3, and area 2G, including the Pass area 3. And there'll still be a 15 sack per vessel for 20 for the so we are back. We'll be back open, and maybe we can get some voices out here before we're still on track. Our goal is to get 8,000 plus. And, it's all going to depend on the weather and everything. Any questions on it? All right, on bottom, oyster lease program. Right now, we've talked with the legislature. We've going to modify the bill, the Senate bill, which is we've got a request to modify that bill with the Senate. And, if you didn't know, Senator Delano now is our new Port Harbors and Marine for the Senate with us. Senator Thompson has moved up into another position, and Senator Delano is now going to be our representative in the Senate. And Brent Anderson will be our representative in the House. But we're going to look at it. Obviously, still trying to get some update on what's happening. And if anybody has an oyster lease now, if you had one prior to this, the old lease type, just continue to operate, continue to do what you were doing. And we're not going to update the leases until we get an understanding of how. we had a lease prior to, this last legislation, before we were left to lease for years, to continue to operate. We're not gonna shut you down, we're not gonna do anything else, we'll let you know whenever we can review it the way it should be done. Any questions on that? All right. 1920 Bonnie Carey, we do anything. I tell you what, everything is going out with 93% of the, grants for new and emergency food, processing technology, about 3.7 million we had for that. We got 93% of the funds that have, been distributed to 23 to 24 hours. Approximately $3 million was awarded for the 2020. We have given out 10,000 for the shrimper, oystermen, 7,500 for the shrimpers. And, now we are coming back and we're doing a second portion of that. And it's obviously it's not boat. And before we just did it, if you had one, you only got one. But now we're gonna look at it and see what we can do. And so hopefully we'll be able to get some more money now and be able to continue to help them. You don't have to apply anything different, I don't think. It's already there. Tracy and them, I have everything. They have all of it. They're just working through it. And it's kind of like a second phase, but in the 2020. But the idea is to be able to see if we can get more money out of people so we can help them out. Any questions? All right. We had a good meeting last week on December the 8th, and the task force itself is talking now. What we're trying to do is just get something put together to give the legislature. House Bill 602 is going to be modified, and we've already talked to Representative Anderson about that in Delano, and they're going to look at it. The House Bill 602, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it more understanding and not hurt people, but be able to get the word out. Is it imported or is it domestic? That's all we're trying to do. That's our number one goal, is to say, is it one or the other? Now, how do we do that? One of the biggest things that we're coming up with is, obviously, we don't want you to have to reprint your menu every week. That's a lot of money. And so what we want to do is find a way to put it on a menu that we can do this and not have you to cause you to have to reprint your menus on a regular basis. It would be something that we can do. We're working on it where it'll be a little legend on the side or the top or whatever we decide to do. There's also, when you go into a lot of restaurants, they'll have a thing for the day or whatever, and they'll have a list, and maybe they can do it that way. And, we're going to work on it. We're just trying to figure out which is the best way. And so that's what we're looking at right now. And also with our grocery stores, especially, when you think about them, a lot of stuff shipped from all over the world to them, and they come from major warehouses back to them. Well, they're labeled and in certain ways, and you have I think it's Cool Act is what it is that it basically states what you have to do. But you can have shrimp, and then right down here you can have Venezuela, but that's all right. But now Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith has a bill in to say that we're going to change that to where it says shrimp that big, it has to say Venezuela that big, and that way at least it tells people where it's coming from. And I think that's good enough for us. I don't think we have a problem with that at all. The biggest thing is, to just to let the people know. And if you got Fresh Market in your grocery store, you're still going to have to label it. If there's a Fresh Market in there, you're still going to have to label it the way it is. If you're selling it on the side of the road, you're going to have to put a label. If whatever you're doing, we got to put something. The whole goal is for everybody, whenever you pick up a piece of especially any type of seafood and crawfish in Mississippi, that you know where it came from. You know it either is imported or domestic. Okay? Any questions?
Joe, quick question on the restaurants. I know a lot of restaurants that we go to, they'll have a board of today's catch, today's special, whatever. Could the restaurants not utilize something like that, have on their menu state of origin on the board above the bar, or where they could change it with a daily catch or something like that?
Yeah, we're working that, and we're trying to work it that way. Also, they could do it like just a piece of paper or something that they put out with it, that if it's a catch of the day, and this is the way it is. But we're trying to work every way we can. A lot of your restaurants, certain things, but whenever you get to a point you can't get it anymore, all right, just to give you an idea, speckled trout, we have reached our limit in it. So it's hard for people to buy fresh speckled trout. And so, you know, and they can't do anything about that the last few months of the year. And so they need to be able to modify that. They need to be able to modify it and say what it is and not have to print a $5,000 worth of menus over. So whatever we can work out.
I like the labeling of so if it's shrimp and it's domestic, you know, the domestic or the import has to be at least the same font as the size of the shrimp lettering. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. And we're going to put something in, and you know, the biggest thing, especially like jambalaya, or if you take any type of a mixture of seafood, you know, a lot of that one part to another. So how do we label that? You know, so we got to be able to make it. How do you label it? Because they may not be able to get certain parts of it, and you know, certain things may not be able to be domestic, but some of them are domestic. And so how do we label those things? A lot of your buffets, they're very easy. They can just put it right above it, you know, and they can change it as the hour goes. You know, it doesn't matter. They can just have a little thing to change. So there's some things there that we're working on. I think it's the intent for the bill from start was to say that it is either imported or domestic. That was the intent of the bill. Now, how do we get that over is the question. And so that's what we're working on. Any other? All right. The next commission meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January the 20th at 10 a.m. Is it 10 a.m.?
9.
Huh?
9 or 10.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. 10, whichever.
It says here on the thing 10 a.m., so that's the reason I'm looking. It's 9 a.m. in Biloxi this time, okay? Do we know? All right, we got that down, right? Everybody's going to Biloxi at 9 a.m., right? All right. All right, we got a few holiday closures. Christmas Day, obviously, Thursday and the day after. New Year's Day and the day after. And then we have Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Robert E. Lee birthday. That's on January the 19th. So it'll be the day before the commission meeting. All right, derelict vessels. We got a total of 225 derelict vessels cases that have been reported. 195 have been removed, 30 is in pending removal, and 2 are in court at this time. Let's see now, where am I at? So, other than that, we do have a Gulf Council meeting next month in New Orleans, and so we'll be going over some stuff on it, but anything on the update, we won't have that until the February meeting, because it's... All right, any other questions on that? If not, Stephen, are you on?
Yes, Director, I'm here.
Can you give the actions update?
Yes, sir. Regarding the actions updates, we have some of the fishing records, and those fishing records that we have. Sorry, I apologize, lost on the screen here.
We can see him, Stephen. Did we lose him?
I'm here, Director. I apologize. When I put my microphone on to answer you, it knocked me off my screen there. My apologies. I do have them right here. If I could have just 1 second, folks. Apologies.
Stephen, we can see them. They're on the screen there, and we can read them.
Yes, sir. So we had motion to recommend approval of the following state saltwater fish record, being a conventional tackle of a rock hind, being 4 pounds, 4.8 ounces for Nicholas Lulin. There's also a youth conventional tackle for silver perch, being 3 cleave. And finally, a Gulf hake of 6 pounds, the record belonging to James Williams. And that's all the actions updates that we have from November.
Okay, any questions? If not, Commissioner, that's my report.
All right, thank you, Director. Appreciate all the information. Do any of the commissioners have anything they want to report on today? Nothing. Okay. Well, looks like Chief Wilkerson, the report on citations, Marine Patrol.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Morning, Chief.
I kind of like to seat myself in Biloxi, so I'm going to stand here and lean on the post here. It's pretty self-explanatory, the report itself. The guys and girls have been working extremely hard. We just made a large sheepshead case last night, and we're having issues with Facebook. It was posting on Facebook. Do know that we've been working that several months. So we were able to maybe put some paper on some individuals that were catching over the limit, extremely over the limit, sheepshead. Had a few oyster violations, some old oysters that were in Biloxi small craft harbor, I believe it was, or maybe in the commercial. I'm not completely sure, but several thousand oysters were seized there and dumped in a disclosed area back in the water. Other than that, I mean, we're looking at about 1,500 stops for a cold November. So the girls and the guys are doing phenomenal work. I'm impressed with them every day. So I will field any questions if you have any.
You know, Chief, I didn't know how much we could or couldn't say about what just happened, but, you know, people like to get on Facebook and where's DMR, where's Marine Patrol, but they have no idea the work that you guys are putting in. Y'all are doing a phenomenal job. I started finding out about the sheephead thing over the weekend. I called Bryce, asked him about it. That's something y'all have already been working on, and people want to get on there and I invite them to come down and see the amount of stops on this report, right? If they think y'all aren't doing anything, because you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
And they're out there whenever other people don't want to be. And just because they're not seeing action immediately, y'all are working on cases, right? Y'all are making sure you get it right. So keep up the great work. And, you know, I'm always happy and confident to know that y'all are doing the right thing whenever I see these things pop up on social media.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for the praise there. We never sleep. We're always out there, always working.
Well said, Commissioner Daniels. Appreciate it, Chief. Any other questions for Chief? All right, thank you, sir. All right, moving to wetlands permitting. Alicia?
Good morning. So this is a request for federal consistency review by the Keesler Air Force Base, DMR 25000445. The location is Back Bay, Biloxi, from Keesler Air Force Base shoreline to the VA Medical Center shoreline in Harrison County, Mississippi. The use district, general use district, agent, Mississippi State University, Eric Sparks. We do have a representative here in the audience, should you have further questions after the PowerPoint. Project purpose and need, create a living shoreline along the Keesler Air Force Base and the Veterans Hospital to prevent high rates of erosion due to wind-driven waves and boat wakes. This project will stabilize the shoreline. The project description, fill a coastal wetlands for the installation of a 1.35 mile long breakwater for a living shoreline. The breakwaters are 100 feet long, 9 feet wide at the base, and 4 feet tall. Maximum of 30 feet from mean high water, with approximately 25 feet between each breakwater. Crest height at a maximum of 1 foot above mean high water. Maximum of 8,195 cubic yards of riprap, with 2,021 cubic yards of total riprap to be placed. 1.5 acres total fill. Project location, the black polygon is Keesler Air Force Base. The red is the VA Medical Center, and then Hiller Park and Green was previously permitted in May of 2024. Project area, this is the description of the breakwaters and where they will sit along the shorelines of Keesler Air Force Base and the VA Medical Center. Variance requests, 22 Mississippi Admin Code, Part 23 of the Mississippi Coastal Program, 5A, permanent filling of coastal wetlands below the ordinary high water mark is not authorized. Justification, Rule 8.19A, the impacts of coastal wetlands would be no worse than if the requirements were followed. The overall intent of this project is to reduce shoreline erosion and enhance shoreline vegetation that provides immense amount of ecosystem services for coastal Mississippi. Public and agency notice and comments. Public notice, notification of the proposed project appeared October 5th and October 12th, 2025. Notification of the proposed project appeared on the MDMR website from September 25th through October 20th, 2025. No public comments were received. Agency notice and comments continued. MDEQ, no comments. MDAH, no comments. MDWFP, no comments. Mississippi Secretary of State, a rent exempt lease will be required. MDMR Fisheries, no comments. MDMR Office of Marine Patrol, no comments. City of Biloxi, no comments. Staff recommendation, the staff of the Department of Marine Resources has conducted a thorough evaluation of the project and has made findings on decision factors in accordance with Title 22, Part 23 of the Mississippi Coastal Program. The project would serve a higher public interest by protection of existing marsh habitat, provide an additional shoreline protection for the Keesler Air Force Base. Therefore, staff requests a motion that the commission recommend to the executive director approve the requested variance and certify that the proposed project be consistent with the Mississippi Coastal Program as requested.
Right. I have just one, I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking, and look, obviously this stuff is eroding and erodes quick, these shorelines, and it's just, dirt material on the banks, and just the wave action is going to continue to scour and pull the material into the water. But I understand this is definitely going to be the fix here, but I mean, you've got the entire, back bay of Biloxi all the way through the industrial canal, and there's erosion everywhere. Is there other opportunities as we continue to add these rock shorelines to stabilize the slopes? Works. I'm just thinking at some point we're going to have rock all the way through from Biloxi to Gulfport. I don't know if there is other solutions.
It depends on the project location.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Yes, there actually are other materials that they can use that are more environmentally friendly. Sometimes because of the amount of waves they're getting, those don't work as well, so they go with the rock because the rock has been studied enough that the engineers can put their stamp on it and know it's going to last. And they don't feel as comfortable with the newer technologies yet. But there are some places, I think that Mississippi State is trying some of those newer technologies. DEQ has done some of the restore projects with those newer technologies like reef balls and things like that that are more modeled after the natural state. So it really just depends on the location and the wave energy.
I'm assuming, yeah, somebody's got to be behind the scenes, like you said, Mississippi State or some of the other engineers trying to figure other
Yeah,
options.
they've done some intertidal reefs, some low water reefs. They've done some with reef balls, different things like that. There are devices called WADs. They're the pyramid-shaped
Okay,
ones that
yeah.
you might see with the holes in them. It stands for wave attenuation devices. There's different ones. It just really depends on the location, what the engineer thinks will actually stand up to the wave energy.
Gotcha, I understand.
very familiar to what they did over in Hancock County, and that's
Yes.
held up very well, and that's a lot of wave action that shoreline
Yes.
gets. It also, it even appears that it's rebuilding marsh behind those
The
rocks.
last I heard from it, the last monitoring, it had built some marsh.
Yeah, it's definitely got shallower and narrower
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of spots since they put it in.
And this reminds me of the Galot Island, which y'all did right there in the back bay.
Right.
And it's right
Very
next to the
similar.
channel, gets a lot of wave action, same thing. Has that been in place long enough to quantify how much these things are helping?
I haven't heard any monitoring on that. I don't know exactly how long it's been in place. I know they're going to monitor every year, so That report, I think, goes to NOAA. I'm not sure who else it will go to, but I usually do hear back from it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I'm not saying that there's any issues. I mean, look, we have to protect our shoreline for sure. And the only other real opportunity would be trying to, reduce boat speeds. And that, I don't think anybody wants that because everybody wants to be able to travel and be able
We
to
got to slow running down.
reach. Yeah, slow running.
I don't never get over
He
that.
plows, and there's a big wave.
Yeah, so to answer your question on the Big Island project, we're tasked with monitoring that, and we've seen some pretty significant recruitment of all your invertebrates and things like that. I can't remember what the quantitative amount was supposed to be, but it's like 5 to 10 times greater than what that minimum threshold is. And so it is you can't see it visually, but it is very productive. And it's providing habitat for a lot of smaller species. And then as y'all mentioned, it's not just about wave attenuation, it's about building back that marsh behind it. Once you do that, then you're going to have some significant recruitment for all the species that we love to catch and all the species that are important for the sound and the estuary.
I look at it daily, it seems like it's doing real well, and there's always a steady group of fishermen on it, so.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it must be producing then, for sure.
The idea, I think, big part about it is trying to do natural.
Yeah.
As much natural as we possibly can. And, good Lord put these things in a nature's way to be able to do that. And so, and if you go back the same way that he works with it, it might help a whole lot more than us building a bulkhead or something else against it, which will stop the erosion.
Yeah.
But it doesn't benefit the estuary the same way.
And probably a maintenance issue down the road too.
Yeah.
The rock will be there for a
Well,
while.
the main thing is the estuary itself. It's not feeding anything. That bulkhead's not doing anything.
Agree. All right. Any other questions for?
We need a motion on that.
Yeah, we'll need
I'll
a,
make a motion that we approve the requested variance and certify the proposed project to be consistent with the coastal program as requested.
I'll second.
all right, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Aye. All right, down to public affairs, Ms. Charmaine.
Good morning. The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources had 14 media mentions since the November MACMR meeting. News items included fish records, the seafood labeling law, MDMR's marine information calendar being available, and DMR receiving $6.3 million in Tidelands funds from the Secretary of State. The Office of Marine Patrol participated in the Sea Santa celebration on December 7th. Artificial Reef Bureau took part in Pathways to Possibilities November 19th and 20th at the Mississippi Coast Convention Center. Marine Patrol was stationed in the Law and Public Safety Pathway, and the Artificial Reef Bureau had their booth in the Marine Science Pathway. The two-day event had thousands of students participating from throughout the southern part of the state. CSO Rick Burris gave a presentation at the Gulf Coast Joint Venture Mississippi-Alabama Initiative Team meeting in Mobile on December 2nd. The Ocean Springs High School Aquaculture Program took a tour of the Lyman Fish Hatchery on November 20th. Students were able to view all the different labs and facilities throughout the hatchery. Megan Fleming and Michaela Dixon and the Finfish Bureau assisted the West Jones Science Club with their field trip to Biloxi through 12th graders who participated in the field trip, where Megan and Michaela showed them how to throw cast nets and talk about the species that were caught in the nets. Finfish Bureau's Trevor Moncrief and Eric Geely also gave presentations at the Sportfish Restoration Angler Workshop on December 4th at the Maritime and Seafood Industry Museum in Biloxi. At the workshop, fisheries experts from DMR, Mississippi State University Extension Service, and the University of Southern Mississippi shared results from sportfish restoration-funded projects. Emmett Carsons of the Grand Banier gave a presentation on the Gulf Coast Phenology Trail at the Louisiana Master Naturalists of Greater New Orleans Workshop on December 5th in New Orleans. Director Spraggins gave a presentation to the Leadership Mississippi class during their Gulf Coast visit on December 2nd at the Marine Education Center in Ocean Springs. The Mississippi Seafood Program also hosted a tasting of local off-bottom oysters and seafood dishes for attendees. And the cooking team cooked dinner for the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star High School football game at the Camp Shelby Mississippi Armed Forces Museum on December 10th. And then we also have calendars and coastal markers, the most recent issue available up here if anybody wanted to pick any up.
Any questions? Ms. Sharman? All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, looks like next up is Miss Aisha Gray for the Grand Bandier update.
All right, well, director put the challenge out and the near delivered. So we had a record star party. So all the shade I got about not having stars at the star party, it's gone. So we had 405 people that attended. The weather was perfect, wasn't too cold, it wasn't too hot, there was no fog. Fog didn't roll in until 9 p.m. So I don't know who you were talking to, but you did a good job. There were too many stars to count. We had dozens of meteor sightings. We had many owls heard, 144 family photos were taken, and 253 crafts were made. So we just made countless family memories. The vibe at the star party is just really low key. People just come because they want to sit down with their families. They want to have some soup. They want to enjoy our interpretive center. They want to kind of check out what we've got. We've got some games in the front yard with the cornhole. We have owl walks. We did not see that owl. That's just an example. We have 5 different kinds of soup. Most of the time I saw people just sitting with their families and having conversation, talking, listening to the stories. We had family photos with Santa. Mrs. Claus story time was a big hit. So that was going on in the large classroom. And lots of kids came to hear stories and families too. We had your ice your own cookie table so we can get all of our kids jazzed for making their own cookies. Everybody loves making crafts. I like the idea that they're taking home a piece of the reserve and they're hanging it on their tree, and they might be doing this year after year. For many volunteers, sweater contest, and Janelle won by 6 or 7. We have hay rides and stargazing. We had a really long line for the hay rides. I did have to turn some folks away for the hay ride. About 20 people didn't make it on, but we'll fix that next year when we get a 3rd trailer. But it was a beautiful starry night. Just tons and tons of stars and lots of great pictures and just a beautiful view of being down there at the reserve. And lots of family memories and photos were taken. So it's a great time. And this is we're going to aim to do about the exact same thing next year. We're going to add just a few things, fix just a few things, but we think 405 is our sweet spot for inviting folks to our open house.
That's beyond impressive. What a attendance right there. Is that a record attendance?
I think it's not quite a record because I do believe that we had a year that had 440. So, but it's pretty close to the record.
Sitting well.
Yeah, smoother than the last one. We had that many. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Any
questions?
Questions?
No, they delivered.
Yeah. It was a good night. It was a really good night.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All right, moving on. Is there any other business?
The only one thing I have is the governor did make an announcement the other day, the $100 million worth of projects that is going to be done across the southern part of the state here. A lot of it is in the southern part, some of it in the northern part of the states, but a lot of it is Restore Act and Go Mesa. But some of the Go Mesa projects is, they did announce Long Beach to be able to help rebuild the harbor at about $2.5 million there. And some areas that needed to be done. Hancock County, there was a sewer system that is we're finally finishing up. This is the last phase of a big project going down that's going to redo a lot of the sewer system in Hancock County and on Highway 603. In Jackson County over at Escatawba, we're doing the sewer project there to be able to help with that. And all these sewer projects, when we talk about them, everything that we correct there has some effect on what happens into the Mississippi Sound, or either the bay or whatever, because the water goes in there. You know, if we get sewage into that, that's just bad for us, and that's bad for the estuary. And so everything that we can do to correct that. And the other project that we're doing is they gave Pearl River Community College the money to buy some drones, and they're going to be able to use those drones to be able to teach hydrography. And they're going to teach students how to be able, now they're just using piecemeal stuff that they have, and hopefully this will make it work for them. But they're going to be able to take those and be able to map the stuff like that they're going to do with it, and it's going to be a lot of great things that comes out of it. And if you hadn't seen the hydrography, you ought to talk to USM and Pearl River, and as a matter of fact, Mississippi Gulf Coast, I think, has a program too. So all three of them have one. And so they have a program, and basically a lot of them are getting their first 2 years at Pearl River or somewhere, and then going to the USM for the other part. But and it's a good program. It's part of the future of the blue economy, and that's something that's going to be big in the Mississippi Gulf Coast for a long time. So we're glad to be able to do some of those things. And I would like to just wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope y'all have a safe one.
Thank you. Director, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas as minutes. Okay, well then, do we have a motion to close?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.